Oop. Hey guys, here I am on time. How about that? Amazing. I think I've figured out my computer problem. It's the damn internet in the house. Hey Beagle Bob, how you doing, man? Yeah, this is actually coming to you using my phone as a hotspot and not using the house Wi-Fi. So yeah, something in the household Wi, and it just like went on and took about 6-7 seconds and it hooked up, it went live. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a lot less frustrating when it just goes live when it's meant to. Who else we got here? Unfinished Project, welcome along. Paul Funk, good evening, sir. Old timer, hey man, good to have you here. Paul Pahui, hey man. And Beagle Bob, it's live. It is. It really is live, and it's like 7:01. It's awesome. Old timer, I'm into 2 bottles tonight, boys. Wow, good for you. I'm into an old fashioned. So cheers. Terry Rubble, how are you, mate? If I was any better, I'd be dangerous. I'm telling you. It's I'm doing good. Had a good day. Had a good week. Yeah. Woodford Reserve Double Oak, very nice. It's a good drop, man. Robert Hirschfield, hey. Good to have you here, man. What's been happening? So, guys, tell me your stories. What have you been up to? What have you achieved in the last week? Yeah. Ooh, old timer, Glenn Fittich, 14-year-old single malt. Wow, aren't you just spoilt for choice? Rescued and restored garage. Hey, man, welcome along. Good to have you here, bud. Good to have you here. How's that Impala of yours coming along? I've seen a few shorts about it. So, yeah. Seems like your missus is keeping you in line. There's a bit of humour. Corey Jones, your channel is great. Well, I'm glad you think so, man. I am. I really am. Just making room down here for my little drinky. Old timer, I've been working on my fella buncher. Okay, you got me. What's a fella buncher? 6th Street Garage. Hey, man. Welcome. Good to have you along. Robert Hirschfield put a T5 in my 71 sports roof. Well done. That's a good thing to be doing. Beagle Bob, I haven't had time to watch the video on that international yet. Maybe tomorrow or Thursday. Mate, that's all good, as long as you get to it, eh? It's actually I nearly didn't do that video, but it's proving quite popular. So you just never know what's going to fly and what's not. So yeah. But yeah, that's a truck that we probably won't be looking at seriously until early next year. But the customer wanted me to have a look at it and see if there was any, just what my thoughts were. So yeah. Matthew, hey, welcome along, bud. Zolly's Auto Clinic, good to have you here. So haven't done much in the last week. Did get my engine run stand halfway put together. Been too hot to mess with. Yeah, it's getting hot. That is the downside of things at the moment. Rescued and restored. It will be great when we find a place to work on it. Okay. Are you? I know. Yeah, quite some time ago you were going to move, or you did move, or something. I can't quite remember where you got to on that. Old timer cuts trees with a big disc saw. Oh, okay. Fella buncher. Didn't realise that's what they were called. I know what you mean, but I didn't realise that's what they were called. Put some in piles. 22-inch capacity cut. 55,000 pound D6 cat undercarriage. Good God. That's serious. That is serious. Hits So Good Garage. That's a new name. I don't think I've seen that before. Replace floor pan, 65 Mustang. Okay, very good. And you do sections like halves or a whole floor pan. Ordered T5 swap parts, painting floor and treating undercarriage as we speak. Mate, you've been going at it. Good for you. That's a lot to get done. Well done. Terry Rubble, love your videos and drives. Well, good, man. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Um, Rescued and restored, missed the Chevelle and Mustang and Trans Am and want to work on the 79 Bronco. Yeah, you got a few to choose from, haven't you? Old timer, the 45 International is absolutely awesome. Did the owner come around to a swap? Yeah, I mean, I think he is. I've had a few comments on that video saying, pour this down it, pour that down it, it'll free up. But I don't know. I mean, we may lift the head. I mean, it's not much to lift the head on one of those and kind of see what's going on, but it's frozen to a point and someone's already been in there trying to free it up because the starter motor was out. And you can see where they've been trying to get to the ring gear and lever it and pry it loose, and it just does not want to turn. And we might be able to break it free if you soak it long enough, but how's it going to run? It was a very low horsepower engine to start with. So, yeah, I just don't. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense to go down that road of trying to redo that engine. So yeah, he seemed quite open to a swap. Probably a small block Ford, I think. For it's a little bit narrower than a Chevy and a little bit easier to get hold of. Finding small block Chevys is getting pretty tough now, but small block Fords are all over the place. So. Hurt So Good Garage, first time restorer. I did front pans and toe boards, jumped in head first. Good for you, man. Sink or swim, isn't it? Like you, when you have to learn, you do learn. Yeah, good for you, man. Well, there's certainly a few videos going back. You go back a little bit, a couple of years or a year or two, doing floor pans and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Lower Man's Vintage Garage. Hi all, great to be here. Good to have you here, man. Rescued and restored. How goes your battle, brother? Yeah, it's good. It's good. I actually started doing a bit of work back on March again. Had a little bit of time and not much, but and a little bit of space, which is unusual. Yeah, so actually started doing a little bit of work on her. Paul Funk, been walking and riding bicycle to get in shape. Well, aren't you just, very getting fit? Good for you. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't do me any harm, but yeah, motivation's probably the hardest thing to come by for doing that kind of thing. Hurt So Good Garage. I live in Knoxville, so not far from you. No, not far at all. Yeah, stop by and say hi sometime. 6th Street Garage. Have missed a few weeks, Kiwi. Can you catch me up on your fleet? Well, yeah, I was just saying. Been doing a little bit of work on March. Pulled all not all the front, but we pulled all the bumper, the upper valance, I call it, which is that kind of gravel tray, I think, or gravel guard they call it. That goes between the bumper and the grill out, and all the headlights and that sort of stuff. Because looks like she'd done maybe a little bit of off-roading at some point, and the lower valance below the bumper was quite flattened up, and the bumper was kind of tweaked up on one corner. One of the headlights was kind of blinding the worms, because the headlights were pointing down at about a 45-degree angle on the passenger side. So yeah, like half the bolts were missing, and someone's kind of rigged it together a bit. So he's pulled all that stuff off and going to start straightening it. So I'm going to do a video on that, the progress there. Because the more we do, the more we find. So yeah, I'm probably going to end up taking the front fenders off, doing a little bit of work on them, a little bit of straightening work on some areas we can't get to with them on the car. Yeah, so there you go. You're up. That's what I've been working on. Stray Bullet, hey man, good to have you along. Hurt So Good Garage. Yes, I've watched your videos as well as others. Tons of great information. Well, good man. I'm really pleased it's helping you. That's good. Zolly's Auto Clinic. I used to be partial to keeping drivelines factory, but recently parts and such are getting harder to get in a timely manner. Already did a semi-modern engine swap for a 50s Chrysler. it's ease of getting the parts, it's cost of getting the parts. I spoke to my engine rebuilder about that Flathead International, and he said it could easily go 8 to 10 grand to rebuild that engine. And that's an awful lot of money for a very uninspiring engine, shall we say. Like it's not a lot of horsepower. I did say in the video that it was 26 horsepower, that was the specs I found on it, but apparently that's what they call taxable horsepower, which was a formula they came up with for charging tax on the vehicles when they were new. I can't really explain that any more than what I just said, but I've never heard of that. One of the commenters on the video was saying that's really taxable horsepower. And reality was they were about 80, like early 80 horsepower, which makes a lot more sense because it was 180 foot-pounds of torque. At a 26 horsepower, the math doesn't really work. I think that 80 is more accurate. But the 26, when I googled it, that was taxable horsepower. I'd never heard of that before, taxable horsepower. But that's I guess that's what the factory said it was, so they didn't have to pay quite as much sales tax or something. I'm not really sure. Old timer, that old International truck begs for a sweet little 289 C4 swap. Yeah, I think that's probably the way we're going to go. The C4, is just going to make it. He just wants to putt around town, and he doesn't want to go on the interstate. He just wants a simple little run around, and so the automatic will keep it simple. The 289, probably just put even just a single exhaust on it, have it really quiet so it doesn't sound like a hot rod. I don't think he wants it to come off like a hot rod. So we'll put a super quiet exhaust on it. It can just kind of hiss instead of make a nice V8 rumble. I think that's probably the way we're going to go. Hurts so good garage, agree. Finding parts to rebuild the green dot C4 is tough. Yeah, that green dot one is getting harder to get parts for. Yes, you're right. There's just subtle differences between them and the regular C4, but yeah, it can be a trick. Rescued and restored. Have you made time to cruise your Mustang, mate? I have not. But I feel like I'm getting a little more ahead of it at the shop now. So, we actually had, the last 2 nights, Marge has been parked in the workshop because we had enough room to do that, which is, that's the first time in a long time. There's a few less customer cars out there and a little bit more time. I had Steve kind of working on it this afternoon on old Marge, stripping all the balances and grills and all that sort of stuff out. I found another grill online on eBay, another grill, the driver's side half, the grill's in 2 halves. So I found another driver's side grill half, which looks to be in very similar condition, so it won't stand out. And wasn't the guy had a new old stock one, which was it was $500, which was like ouch. But I didn't want one half of the grill brand new and the other half, 60 years old. So I got the guy also had a used one, and it looks really decent. So that's coming. So then she won't look like she's been punched in the face. I don't know whether you guys have kind of noted, if you look at, you kind of zoom in a little bit and look at her front sheet metal, it's a little rearranged. It's probably about 85%, but when you really look at it properly, it's kind of just all tweaked and not great, but not destroyed by any means, but just needs a little bit, a few hours of attention, and it'll look a bunch better. Possibly won't necessarily see why it's looking better. It will just look better. Today, Lowman's Garage. Oh, Phil Buckley. Hey, man, welcome along. Lowman's Garage. Today I made the mistake of trying to replace the seals in a Cruiser-Matic while in the car. Oh. Okay. Oops, and that didn't go well, I take it. Stray Bullet Kiwi, which was the first production vehicle manufactured by Ford to have the flathead V8? Wasn't that the 32? I thought it was the 32 Ford. Not that up on my flathead stuff. It's not an engine that's ever kind of floated my boat. I mean, I know that flatheads have a huge following, but it's just not by me, especially. Laurel Flynn, I enjoyed the video on the Imperial. The owner will be wishing he had taken to you in the first place. Did he say how he found your business? He used to use the shop at the other end of my building. They've since gone. So he knew I was there, and he just contacted me and asked if I wanted to work on it. So I said, sure. It was a cool car. Paul Funk, 32 Model A. Yeah, 32 Ford. That was my guess, or my belief. Old timer, I would have guessed the flat 6 was 80. In fact, I did right before you said 26. Yeah, well, that's what one of the commenters on the video sounded like he was a bit of an international guru or nut job, whatever you want to call him. One and the same. Yeah, he was rattling off a bunch of facts and figures on it. And I think he said it was 83. I'd have to go back and look at the comment, but it was 80 something. And I tend to believe him that the 26, if I hadn't kind of read it in print, which goes to show you got to be a little bit careful what you do believe off the internet. But I don't think the 26 was incorrect. It just didn't qualify or quantify the 26 with saying it was taxable horsepower. Alan Trimble, greetings from Delaware. I've missed the last 4 or 5 live streams. Happy to catch this one. Where have you been, man? I hope you've been just so busy working on your cars that you haven't had time to get on the live stream. That you'll get a free pass for that. But if you were just sitting there watching Days of Our Lives or something reruns, then that's a problem. Josh Homan, hey, good to have you here, man. Robert Hirschfield, Ford's first V8 was a 32 vehicle. I believe it was a flathead. Yeah. Ford was the first to actually, obviously not the first V8, but they were the first to cast a complete, like a one-piece block in the Ford V8. They used to be a crank. The earlier V8s were a crankcase with barrels, so Ford was the first to figure out how to cast it in one big lump. Laurel Flynn, drop a 6-cylinder Falcon in it. Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's an option. That wouldn't be too bad option as well. And it's going to be a decent fit, because it's already got a straight 6 in it. So yeah, Falcon 6 and an automatic would be not bad. I don't know. I mean, I probably lean to the V8, but the 6-cylinder that's a sensible option. Stray bullet. Google is not correct about everything. Oh, that's the truth, especially that AI part. Now they started using the AI, and the first response you get is usually the AI version, and I've caught that out a few times on stuff that the AI just it's not 100% just yet. Rescued and restored garage. Once we get down there, I'll get you to take me on a tour with that car. There you go. Be happy to, man. Be happy to. Terry Ruber. I'm trying to think how to say that. Rubble must be rubble. What would be the charge for a classic car inspection or roundabout inspection? Typically around about $250. About $250. And that's usually if they come to me, like if they bring the car to the shop. If I've got to go out there, which I don't usually do because it's very hard to see under a car. if you don't have a rack. So I don't really like doing on-site inspections. I don't do that many of them, unfortunately. I wish more people would ring up and ask. Not so I can make more money out of it. That's really not the best way to make money doing car inspection. But I would rather people don't get caught out. As good as those videos are for views and for making YouTube money, it's heartbreaking for the people that have screwed up and bought the wrong car. And for me, that's just not good for the hobby. Like the guys with that black Mustang, and they are going to resell it. And I'm not convinced they'll get another classic, or a hot rod or a muscle car. I'm not convinced they're going to do that. They're kind of burnt. Some will say, it was their fault. They should have known better, and they're actually quite prepared to admit that. They screwed up. They should have known better, but it's all easy in hindsight, isn't it? It's very easy for the keyboard warriors to be going, they deserve what they get. Some of the comments on that video were pretty negative, pretty harsh. Terry Rubble, 70 Dart GTS. So that's what you're thinking of getting an inspection on? Did I get that right? Rescued and restored, 70 Dodge Dart Custom was my first muscle car. There you go. Paul Bruno, 32 Model B Ford, not the Model A. Oh, the Model B? Okay. Interesting. Stray Bullet, Ford purchased Lincoln in 1922. The Lincoln L Series was equipped with a flathead V8. 1922. And was that a cast one-piece block? Laurel Flynn. I agree with Paul. Okay. The link. Yeah, okay. I don't know about the 1922 Lincoln. That's a little before my time. Old timer. I'm a true blue Ford guy, but my guilty secret is I want a Plymouth Scamp with a 650 horse, 340 and 4-speed, like the bit on YouTube. Well, yeah, that would be a fun car, wouldn't it? 650 horse out of a 340. That's got to be forced induction, doesn't it? You're not going to get that out of a normally aspirated one. That's got to be turboed or something, doesn't it? Beagle Bob, the 32 Ford was the first mass production V8. If I remember correctly from a documentary I saw, they had made earlier V8s and Lincolns, but the 32s was a single piece casting. Yeah, that's my understanding, that the Ford V8 was the first to go with a one piece or single piece casting. All the others were separate barrels and crankcases and stuff like that. There was a company in England, I think it was, called Liberty Engines. They made plane engines and that kind of thing, and they were making V8s and V12s back in like 1912, 1914, that kind of era, 10 years before Lincoln did it. But then they were absolutely massive capacity, but relatively low horsepower. Orlando Pockets. Hey, hi Kiwi, thanks for the great videos. Hope you're doing great tonight. I am doing good, mate. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Braden LaForce, most people like me get the inspection after we buy it. Mate, that happens so often. And sometimes you get good news, and sometimes you don't. Yeah. Put the screen down a bit. We've got Kev time in the background there, with the police keeping a close eye on him. Stray Bullet, you guys have all heard the song Hot Rod Lincoln. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Michael Welch, didn't you and Dr. Art drive around a 55, 57 Buick that the only way you could start was with a remote? In 54, Buick's Roadmaster used a gas pedal starter. Wonder if it was used in later years. Yes, that you did see that video. Yes, that was that's my Buick, 57 Buick that I still own. we needed a remote starter on it. That car originally had the gas pedal starter, but someone changed the carburetor on it before I got it and converted it to a push button starter. And the push button now has given up on it, so that's why we were using a remote. But yeah, believe it or not, the carburetor is part of that gas pedal starter. It has a little ball inside it that goes in a channel, and because when you hit the starter with the gas pedal, like the problem you've got is that every time you put your foot down, it would try and engage the starter motor, right? Which is, that's not what you want happening. So what happened, the way they overcame that was they had this little ball that was in a vacuum channel or tube, and once the engine started and created vacuum, it stopped the starter engaging, and then once you were driving it, there was always some amount of vacuum, and that stopped. So if you wanted to overtake and you hit full throttle, that would disable. Having that little ball bearing would move. I've seen a drawing of it, and it was a long time ago. But yeah, that little ball bearing would move, create a circuit or break a circuit. Can't quite remember how it went, and stop the starter motor engaging where you didn't want it to, when the engine was already running. So yeah, that's I've said that to a few people. That, like someone changed the starter motor, so we can't put the gas pedal starter back into it. Change the carburetor, yeah. So yeah, without the correct carburetor, you can't have that system. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, to answer your question, it was certainly used in 57. I'm not sure when they discontinued it. Orlando Pockets, the song about the Chevy. That was not a song about a Chevy. That was about a hot rod Lincoln. Paul Funk thought the question was about Ford, not Lincoln. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a tricky one, because Lincoln wasn't Ford and then it was Ford. So yeah, I guess you've got to figure out the intent of the question. Straight bullet, nobody drove a Chevy back then, Orlando. Josh Homan, it's always the crooks that are at fault, regardless of whether the buyer should have used more sense. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree that, some of the repairs you see, they're just, the people who did it are at fault because they're just waiting for that guy that doesn't see it, that person that doesn't catch it and see it. So yeah, they did it. They're really the ones that are on the hook for it. Here we go. Barracuda, the change from gross horsepower to net horsepower created confusion, in my opinion. As an example, a 225 slant 6 was rated at 145 horsepower. Then the same engine was rated as low as 95 horsepower. Doesn't sound good. No. And that's the difference between gross and net. But that the figures I quoted on the International, as I say, were this taxable horsepower, which was a lot. That was only a quarter of what it was actually making, kind of thing. But I think that's a different thing again from gross and net. But I'm not 100% sure, I'll be honest. Straight bullet, it was a bolt together block, Kiwi. Ford improved the Lincoln engine with the 32 model. Yeah, that sounds right, because everything's an evolution, isn't it? Like one idea. Someone didn't just wake up in middle of one night and go, I'm going to make a V8 internal combustion engine. It started off as something very, very simple and just grew and evolved and evolved and evolved. So yeah, I'm sure Ford did. I can imagine that happening. That seems very, believable that Ford bought Lincoln out because they were struggling, presumably, and looked at what they were doing and thought, we can improve on that. Old timer, nope. The 340 I speak of was 100% NA. The video was called "Not Today" by Biker Boys. I encourage everyone to look it up. You won't be sorry. Interesting. 650 horsepower out of it. Wow, how many revs were they pulling out of it? They must have been turning some R's to make that horsepower. Wow, that's amazing. Paul Funk, I know the video. The guy blows the guy blows by some motorcycles. Wow, I'll have to go look for it. What's it called? Not Today, Biker Boys. Okay, I'll have a look for that. Orlando Pockets. My dream is a Dino 246 GTS with a Chevy 350 in it. So it will start when I want to drive it. Oh, that's it. Oh, you'll be upsetting the Ferrari people. Well, the Dino's not really a Ferrari, is it? But it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Oh, timer. Paul Funk, yes, it gets me off so hard. Well, that's a bit TMI, brother. Rescued and restored garage. Well, my brother, it is super time. Love your channel and all the things you do for the car community. Give your crew a high five from us and stay with your roots. Much love and respect. God bless. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, glad you could drop in for a while. It's awesome. Orlando Pockets. Yeah, at one point it was Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. Yep. Well, it's still got Lincoln, isn't it? And there's still Lincoln as a brand name, but Mercury's gone away. Josh Homan, General Motors sold so many cars at one time they were afraid of selling too many? Really? Car123, watch your videos all the time, Kiwi. Not very many people are as humble and talented as you in the classic car life business. Awesome as always. Well, thanks, sir. Yeah, I just do what I do. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, people seem to enjoy the video, so yeah, I'm not as big as a lot, but I'm a bit bigger than a few. So, YouTube channel wise, and yeah, I think I do a good job, and I'm fairly proud of that. So yeah, there you go. But yes, thank you for the kind words. Terry Rubble, been a professional mechanic for over 30 years, but makes me nervous buying a classic car from a dealer. Well, yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily the dealer. The dealer, most of the classic car dealers that I've come across and dealt with are selling on behalf. So it's someone else that's done the shady modifications to them. And if you've been a mechanic for 30 years, mate, you just need to get under it and you'll pick up what's going on. And usually once you find like one or two little things, it's just the beginning of it's the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, the dealers, some of them should know better. Some of them do know what's going on and do it anyway. And yeah, so you get a little bit of everything there, but sometimes the cover-ups by the people that put them on consignment with the dealers are pretty, they go to a lot of trouble to hide what they've been doing. So sometimes the dealers just don't pick it up. And often, the car salesmen, don't know that much about cars. They're not techs, they're not mechanics. They're just good at talking. They're salespeople. And if they've got a bit of a passion for classic cars, they can usually be pretty good at selling classic cars, but they don't always know what they're selling. So don't hang all that blame on the dealer. Yes, it certainly can be, but I don't believe it's all the time. It's some of the stuff I've seen has, someone's taken a lot of time and really rigged these cars up at times and, put one over on the dealer as well. Barracuda, the International Trucks torque figure sounds pretty healthy. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a slow revving, long stroke. I'm sure it is. I don't actually know that, but I think it's a fairly safe bet to say it'll be a slow revving, long stroke, torquey motor. So yeah. Terry Rubble, hello, it will be really hard to get 650 horse from a 340. I mean, maybe it's, if it's just 340 cubic inches, if it's been stroked out, that'll help a bit. I know it's not hard to punch a 340 out to like 408 cubic inches. And I believe those make 500 or so, pretty comfortably with a decent set of heads on them. So I guess, if you really go hard at it, but if it's just 340 cubic inches, no more, that's a big ask. That's a lot of horsepower. But, never say never. Orlando Pockets, Terry Rubble. Yeah, you might be better to restore it yourself than you know where the gremlins are. This is true. This is true. What you've got, once you put your own hands on it, you know what you got, Old timer, Terry Rubble, not really. The 340 is spit it out. The 340 is a monster if you want it to be. Obviously, it required aftermarket heads, but it can be done. Watch the video. I'm going to watch it, mate. Josh Homan, they would run afoul of antitrust laws if they sold too many. Really? Antitrust laws. Okay. Don't understand that one, but I'll be honest. Barracuda, being humble tends to be a Kiwi trait. Yeah, I think you're right. Honestly, yeah, I do believe that. Yeah. Paul Funk, the Kiwi family down in Taupo struggles to go live on YouTube as well. Maybe it's a Kiwi thing. Oh gosh, I hope not. Yeah, it's apparently something to do with the Wi-Fi here at the house. Because as I was saying earlier, I'm using the hotspot on my cell phone, and it just went straight on. And yet we've had the Wi-Fi system. We've had ATT out, and different people out, and we've got these gadgets in the house that strengthen the signal and send it out to all corners of the house and that kind of thing. And supposedly we're like just 100% on our Wi-Fi signal, but and it works perfectly on everything except YouTube Live. So I'm at a loss. I don't know. It's way above my brain capacity to figure that shit out. Laurel Flynn, see Kiwi, lunchtime's over. I'm back to work. Yep. You got to keep the man happy, don't you? Well, thanks for dropping in, Laurel. Good to have you here, brother. Orlando Pockets, 2 horsepower per cubic inch. Yeah, well, it's getting up that way, isn't it? To 340, 680. Yeah, it's almost 2 horsepower per cubic inch, which is a lot. Yeah, when I was young, you were happy if you could get one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, one horsepower per cubic inch was a pretty healthy engine. Old timer, I believe it is a 408 Kiwi. You're correct. Yeah, I thought it would have to be. I think that's doable out of a 408 with good heads on it, not just aluminum heads, because there's aluminum heads and there's good aluminum heads. And depending on whose heads they are and the design and port size and that kind of thing. They're probably heads with pretty huge ports, because that must be spitting some RPMs to make that horsepower, even in a 408. And they've probably given up a fair bit of mid-range tractability, I would think, or at least early to mid-range anyway. But yeah, I mean, that 50 horses, that's some fun to drive, I can tell you. Paul Funk, the Mopai guy, also states how much money he spent. I'll bet it's not $5,000. Old timer, I want to take a 4-day mini vacation and stop by to see you, Kiwi, but I don't want to bother you either. One of these days I will reach out. look, do that. I get quite a lot of people by the shop, honestly, and you know, I quite enjoy it. Yes, it can take in half an hour out of your day, but um, getting to meet some of you guys, like it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, if it was 3 or 4 times a day, then yeah, really, you just yeah, I don't know what you got then, but you don't have a repair shop. You've got just some sort of a yeah, meet and greet place. But I'll get visitors, a couple of times a month, via YouTube, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, some days you can't spend a huge amount of time. Some days, you can give them an hour, and life's too short to just which is more fun, like the work or the pleasure, and yeah, you've got to make time for people, I believe. So yeah, old timer, yeah, take your 4 day vacation and come see me, man. Yeah, even if we just hit a local bar, after hours, and just bullshit, sit and bullshit for a couple of hours or whatever. That's fine. Orlando pockets, 1 horsepower per cubic inch was the benchmark when I grew up. Yeah. Terry Rubble, as soon as they start quoting horsepower, LOL, time to run. Yeah. Chris Triumph, hey man, how you doing? Good to have you here. Paul Funk, I've been to Kentucky but not Tennessee. Would love to see it someday. Relatively similar, I would have to say. Kentucky, Tennessee, obviously they're right next door to each other. There's not a night and day difference, but yeah, it's a pretty place. It is a pretty place. Stray Bullet, weren't the cheetahs around 650 horse with a small block Chevy? Mate, I'm really not sure about that. I don't know. Old timer, here's a low 10-second time slip. Yeah, well, if you're going to do low 10s, yeah, you would need most of that 650 horsepower to achieve that. Yeah. Braden LaForce, you could turn into a reality show like Graveyard Cars. Oh, good Lord, no. Shoot me now. That's a TV show I can't tolerate. That, yeah. No, that would not be me. All that fake drama and bullshit, and yeah, that no, I swear I could not sit through an episode of that show. It would just, yeah, it would do my brain in. Yeah, no time for that guy. Stray Bullet, Kiwi has to eat lunch. Exactly. Barry Cooter, the fastest car I ever worked. Try that again, Jello. Too much bourbon. The fastest car I was ever in was an HQ Holden with a worked, very lumpy cam 327 Chev. Smaller Q, but it was scary fast. Yeah, 327's a very, very good engine. If that was breathed upon correctly, built nicely, that'll turn an HQ Holden into a monster. Yeah, absolutely. Michael Sana, Kiwi, Kentucky bourbon, Tennessee whiskey. This is true. Terry Rubble, LOAF, the graveyard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's Anyway, each to their own. Each to their own. He's got a TV show. I don't. So who's got it right? Really, I guess it depends how you look at it, doesn't it? No, Stray Bullet. Could you imagine Kiwi and Kevin Tates? I assume you mean fighting and throwing things around the shop. No, I wouldn't really. I'm not that good an actor, mate. I'm not that good an actor. I couldn't I couldn't fake it. I couldn't, and that's just not me, And Kevin's, we're birds of a feather. He's very laid back guy. He just gets on with it, just gets it done. If you have a problem, you figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kevin and I going back quite a few years, there was, a little tiny bit of something went down and we just talked about it and it was like, okay, done. We figured that out. There was no drama. Old timer, Barracuda. The fastest car I've been in was my late brother's supercharged 347 LX Mustang. It was a violently fast car. Well, yeah, with a supercharger, it would be. It would be. E2495. Okay. Hi, Kiwi and Aussie here. Thanks for showing me some cars I've never seen before. Keep doing what you do. Oh, hey, thanks, man. It's fun. It's really, I sometimes have to kind of pinch myself and say, wow, this is not something I could have imagined me doing 20 years ago. But yeah, here I am stateside and these cars are coming across my doorstep, weekly. And, you do sometimes start to take it for granted and you kind of I find I got to pinch myself and go, hey, so many people like that Imperial, so many people I know have never driven one of those, never will drive one of those. And, it's pretty special. Paul Funk, the horse properties in Kentucky are beautiful and plentiful. Absolutely. Terry Rubble, 3393. Okay, not sure what you're laughing at there, but okay, straight bullet. Yes, I see. I'm with you. It takes a moment for the old brain to catch up. Yeah, no, it wouldn't. I don't think anyone would buy it, really. If we did fake it, I don't think anyone would buy it. Okay, that's a weird thing. On my screen, it says alert warning, end live now to avoid suspension. Never seen that before. Can you guys see in that? It's just above Pop's Mustang Shop comment. I really don't know what that's about. Well, if we suddenly go off air, I guess I've been suspended. Not sure what I'm supposed to have done. Anyway, back to business. Pop's Mustang Shop. Good to have you here, number one. Please find the like button and give it one punch for Kiwi. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, that would be cool. How are we doing? 34 likes and 46 people. Let's go. Clearly, there's, what's that? 15 of you don't like what I'm doing. Like, is that what I'm to believe? Hopefully that's not the case. Robert Beckler, next month I will be getting down south, go to Dollywood and visit old friends I've not seen in 30 years. Yeah, well, you're getting close. Mate. Are you guys seeing this alert thing that's coming up on my screen? It's coming in the comments, but yeah, now it's going in live now to avoid suspension. If you do not end this in 5 minutes, action will be taken. Then it says you don't do it in 4 minutes, action will be taken. Oh, yeah. Yes, you can see the alert keeps popping up. Just a troll. Okay. Hopefully that's all it is, but it doesn't, like all your other guys' comments have, your little picture or your initial of your name and stuff by it. But yeah. And that's just got the little warning, little notification bell. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it then. Old timer, I liked it. Well, thank you, sir. Beagle Bob, I think he meant Kev when he said fighting with Kevin. Oh, okay, yeah, super. This Kev. He doesn't fight much. He's pretty quiet. He doesn't say a lot. He's not really he's not one to make anybody mad enough to fight him. I thought you meant Kevin Tates, but yeah. End of time. I found an old Ford Autolite steel gear vacuum advanced distributor for the 85 Roller 50. It's remanufactured one from back in the day. Like finding a unicorn. Yeah, I bet it is. Ford Autolite steel. Yeah, that'd be worth having. Roy Miller. Let's see what action will be taken. Indeed. Bots. I really think it's bots. Could be. Beagle Bob, it would be a troll or scammer naming their account as alert. Naming their account as alert. Okay. We need the guy to banish the alert. Yeah, well, yeah. I think I can. Let me just go back up there. All right. It's just, yeah. I'm going to report him. There you go, reported and hidden. So he's gone. Well, he's supposed to be. Looks like he's popped up again. Okay, where were we up to? Terry Rubble, the one that scared me, 65 Belvedere with a 440 with a full house, 55. 55 on the freeway, pitched it sideways, then took off. I was a Mopar believer. Yeah, well, that would definitely sign the deal, wouldn't it? Barry Cooter, the graveyard cars guy, is a showman, but I appreciate his dedication to his restos, being factory original in every way, down to the polyglass Goodyears. Yeah, I mean, he does from all what I see on TV, which you can't believe everything you see on TV, but he does seem to know his stuff. They do seem to do very good restorations, and it's all, perfect. He's not a hot rodder. So, yeah. Yeah, he's just, but the showmanship, that's a very nice way of putting it, in my opinion. But yeah, is too much for me. Robert Becker, yep, Kiwi is drinking bourbon on YouTube. I don't think there's an issue with that. I don't believe. Yeah. Okay. Lower Man's Vintage Garage. I'll tell you about scary fast. I put a Judson supercharger in my 62 Beetle. Nothing like going 90 miles per hour on a pie cutter tires. Don't see the alert. Well, I just deleted 2 of them. Stray Bullet. If you don't end the stream, you'll be forever banished from the internet. Oh, well, I guess that's a chance I'm just going to have to take. Robert Meyer, yeah, alert. I have a bridge for sale. There you go. You mean Stray Bullet? I mean Kev. Yeah, okay. Old timer laughing my ass off. Yeah. Raiden of Force, it was worth watching for Alyssa Rose. Okay, not sure what that's about. Yeah, I don't know what this alert's about, but oh. Paul Funk, almost every live stream needs a moderator. Yeah, I did. I did have a moderator, but I haven't seen him for a while. What was it? I've gone blank. The dude is my moderator, but he hasn't been in for a few weeks, so I'm not sure what's happened to him. So yeah, we might have to put another moderator in. I feel Stray Bullet Alert will end up as the new moderator. That's how Kiwi's channel works. Well, the dude was unusual at times. But yeah, what the heck? Old timer F7. The whiskey is hitting me pretty good. I'm hitting the sheets. Appreciate you all and good night. Oh, mate. Well, yeah. Great. Thanks for stopping in, man. All right, Beagle Bob. I'm looking at making catch cans for my fleet, starting with the 7.3 diesel. It looks like a fuel water separator and would be the best value option. Any thought or experience? Um, Catch cans for your fleet. Yeah, it's kind of a race engine thing, really, that's kind of spilled over into the hot rodding community. Catch cans. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Looking like a fuel water separator, and they do work, but it's just another thing to have to check and empty and keep your eye on. Yeah, Kiwi is sipping, not drinking. Well, this is true. End of time. What's a good bourbon to try? Angel's Envy, mate. That's probably one of my favourite bourbons. Yeah, Angel's Envy. It's not badly priced. I'm not such a fan of the rye, but the regular Angel's Envy is really nice. That's what I'm drinking tonight. I know the colour doesn't look quite right, but that's because it's an old fashioned. So it's got the maraschino cherries in it, which gives it that red tinge. So yeah, Mrs. Kiwi made me that with the real, with the one big giant ice cube in it. She did well. Terry Rubble, good night. Good night, sir. Thanks for dropping in. Barry Cooter, I know exactly what he meant about Alyssa Rose. Okay. Yeah, I missed that one. Dr. Cliff. Oh, yay. Good to have you here, man. Hey, Kiwi, I'm installing a return fuel line in the Mustang for the vapor lock. I found out they make a sending unit with a return line connection and ordered one today. CJ Pony. I have the line in. Okay. No, that's going to be interesting to see how that works for you. Okay. What's controlling the flow back to the tank and making sure you have fuel pressure at the carburetor, or is it just like a much smaller line going back, so there's just a consistent level of pressure? Because the thing is too, volume is as important, if not more important, than pressure. Just waiting for the sending unit. Okay. Yeah, well, you'll have to report in and let us know how that works for you. Stray Bullet. I used to be a moderator on the channel where practically everyone was a moderator. Okay. Do I take that as you were volunteering, buddy? Mod versus mod. Johnny C. There you go. Beagle Bob, the diesel is leaking some oil past the intercooler connection. The forum seemed to say that the fix is filtering the crank ventilation. The diesel is leaking some oil past the intercooler connections. So it's coming out around the intercooler connections. You really don't want oil in your intercooler. That reduces its ability to cool quite a bit. Beagle Bob, that's a big ice cube. It is. It starts out like pretty near as big as a baseball. Paul Funk, sounds like a good plan, Dr. Cliff. Yeah, I think it is. Dr. Cliff, 3-line filter, third line is a vapor line and release pressure from the vapor. There you go. E2495, Kiwi, if you like Angel's Envy, give Sagamore Spirit Sherry Cask Finished a try. It's really good. Okay. I have to try and remember that. Okay. Dr. Cliff Vapor Line is 1/4 inch. Yeah, that sounds right. Stray Bullet, it's more fun for me not being a moderator, Kiwi. Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. That's fine. I don't know. alert seems to have gone away. So, and we're still on air. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what what his thing was, but hey. Terry Rubble, thank you, Kiwi. You were the best. Well, thank you, sir. Pretty good yourself. Yeah. We were all good in our day, weren't we? Uh, all right, guys, what's happening? We're an hour in, and where are we at? Oh, well, Barracuda, although there was an episode of Graveyard Cars where they garked the edge of a cute CUDA door, fitting it, and just brush touched it for the customer to pick up. Ooh. Yeah, at that level of restoration, that's not really okay. Remembering he'll be, I don't know what he charges, I honestly don't, but I'm sure it's not a little. It's more likely a lot. Dr. Cliff, I'm thinking with the vapor port off the filter, vapor will flow out and down towards the tank and reliquefy. Yeah, that is the concept of it. Yeah. Beagle Bob, the crankcase has a vent hose that goes to the intake. I'm back. Am I back? Am I back? It says I am. He doesn't know he's back. No, I didn't. I was looking at my phone, checking shit and trying to make it work again. Trying to get my hotspot, make sure that was working, but it looks like I'm back on. So, yeah, where were we? Roy Miller, yes. Well, that's good to be back. I don't know whether I fixed it or I don't know. But yeah, some of your comments were really quite amusing there. Steve Sadusky, hopefully you hung with the frozen me for a while, and I'm back now. And Chris Freeman, no, certainly did not ditch you by any means. But yeah, it's a struggle. It's an ongoing struggle with these YouTube lives. I'm telling you, man. Keep chewing on 8 cables again. Chewing on something. Bloody technology. Kev, the bird's fault. Look, it could be. I don't know. I don't have a better answer for you. I really don't. Driveway of Mr. You were just about to send out the $500 checks to each of us. Yeah, refunds. Yeah. I have to feed Kev more. I don't know what that was about. It never said I was disconnected from my hotspot, but I turned the hotspot off, turned it back on again, and we came back. So, hey, I don't know. But yeah, to fill in Mr. Freemesser, I got on instantly tonight using Chrome on my computer, but not using the household internet, using my hotspot on my cell phone. And it went straight on, and it was going faultlessly till you arrived. But I'm sure that's coincidental. Yeah, I guess it is something to do with the household internet, although it says it's working perfectly. The AT&T say it's working perfectly. So Driveway of misfits. I'm not blaming you, buddy, at all. At all. K Blin 68. Kiwi, are you still working on the Cougar Fastback project? No, not currently. No. He had too mmany projects. Had too many irons in the fire. And he had like 3 cars trying to be built at the same time in 3 different places, as far as I know. And I think the funds ran dry, to be honest with you. So it couldn't just stay at my place not getting worked on. So I went back to his place, and I haven't heard from him for a while. So I'm not sure what's happening with that car. I don't know. Yeah, I did. Hey, Chris Freemasser, I did get your email, and I did look at it, and I didn't really have a chance to take any actions on it, but I tried tonight and was going to try, with Chrome, and I was going to try on Edge, and it wasn't working again. And then I tried doing it through the hotspot, and it jumped straight on. So I don't know, man. Something's going on. Gosh, I hope I'm still on because no one's commented for a couple of minutes. So I hope I'm still moving out there. Am I still moving? Oh, yeah, here we go. Dr. Cliff, Kiwi, a trusted classic car mechanic friend, told me my plan to add a return fuel line was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard. He gave me no explanation. Why would he say that? I don't know. I don't believe it is a dumb idea. It's a no harm, no foul system. Having a return line can't do any harm. It can hopefully help, but really, I'm 100% sure that it can't do any harm. Now, as long as the return feed's regulated somehow, because if you're pumping 5 gallons a minute and they're sending 5 gallons a minute back to the tank, well, then there's no fuel left for the engine. So obviously that would be a bad idea. But that's why you need something to regulate the flow back. So yeah, as long as you got that, it's not a dumb idea. A lot of factory setups are done that way. A lot of fuel injection systems are done that way. They have gone away from it a little bit on fuel injection, having a return line. And the only reason they went away from it is simplification. Like you only have one fuel line going forward and none going back. So they save the cost of running that fuel line back, having the return, regulation. They just save a few bucks by having what they call a deadhead system on fuel injection. It wasn't to make it better; it was to make it cheaper. Beagle Bob, is Old Blue doing good enough as a daily? It's doing pretty darn good, actually. I switched the power steering pump, put a new power steering pump on it, and that quietened it way down. It was getting loud enough to the point where it was kind of embarrassing sitting at the traffic lights, and it was going, I was making a hiccup, and people were looking around going, what the heck is that? And I was going to not change it until we did the Crown Vic front suspension in it, but it's like, it's just too loud. So that's made it a lot nicer to drive without all that racket from the power steering pump. So it's doing pretty good as a daily driver. It's actually pretty decent on gas. And I've got a 20-minute drive to work and back. 20 minutes in, 20 minutes back, plus the odd run around that I do during the day. And a tank of gas has lasted me about 2 weeks. So I'm pretty happy with that. Driveway of misfits, we're all catching our breath. K Blin 68, how did the Ranchero turn out? Possibly my favorite vehicle that you've showcased. Really, you guys saw how it turned out, on that test drive at the end of the video. That was pretty much how we got it back. neat little truck. He's weighing his options of power steering and air conditioning. I think he'd like to have both of those, but the budget is the budget is the budget. So yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see. I think he's moved out from LA, so he probably hasn't quite experienced the heat we get here in the height of summer here in Tennessee. So I think that air conditioning is going to start looking better and better as it gets hotter and hotter. Yeah. Barracuda, the hotspot reminds me of a good Don Johnson movie. That sounds like a movie he'd be in, doesn't it? Stray bullet. Maybe he's upset he didn't think of it first. Driveway of misfits. Modern cars have a return feed, right? So how is adding one to an older car bad? That's like saying replacing a single master with a dual master is dumb. Yeah. It's one thing I've found over the years. You always find someone who'll disagree with the mainstream. I mean, it still cracks me up. There's still guys out there that say thermostats are for idiots. Thermostats in your cooling system. And, the first thing they do when they buy a car is take that thermostat out, throw it away. It's a stupid waste of time. And it's like, really? So something that every other engine manufacturer in the world thinks they need to have, but you know better. Okay. So yeah, it's not hard to find people that will just say something negative just because they can. So yeah, Dr. Cliff, I wouldn't take it too seriously, honestly. If he can give you a bunch of reasons why it's a bad idea, then okay, and it makes sense. Then let's hear what they are. But no, there's no good reason to not have it. Hang on a sec. The filter, Dr. Cliff, the filter has a vapor bypass. It's not going to send gas back to the tank. I thought you were sending. Okay, I must have misunderstood what you were typing. I thought you said it was a return. Is it just a return vapor line, not a return fuel line? It's not. Dr. Cliff is saying it's not going to send gas back to the tank. Okay, I'm a little confused now. I'll be honest. Stray bullet. Some EFI is returned and some is not. Yeah, more and more they're not sending return back to the tank. But as I said, it's about saving a few bucks on building the car. Steve Sadusky, currently working on a 2011 Jeep Wrangler with a 3.8 engine 4x4 with an emissions code. I changed the gas cap today, but the customer says gas cap has been replaced 5 times now and the code comes back. Oops. Fortunately, I'm lucky enough to not have to work on cars that have codes of any kind, let alone emissions. Emissions codes can be, from what I've seen, and really not what I've dealt with. I'm Steve. Sorry, mate. I'm not the guy to ask on what that might be. I'm just not the guy to ask. I don't work with emissions in computerized cars. Dr. Cliff, he's a good mechanic, but he'd been wrong before. He was 100% sure my stalling was a bad torque converter. I changed it. It did not fix the issue. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Dr. Cliff. End of time. Have a good night, guys. Yep, you too, brother. Take it easy. Thanks for coming in. Driveway of misfits. Steve Sadusky. Not unusual for Chrysler products of that vintage to actually say gas cap on the display when it senses a fault there. My 2010 Dodge did that and was right. There you go. Dr. Cliff, he also swapped the rear in my 66 Dart and transferred the bearings. Okay, I'd have to question your description of him being a good mechanic. No. Have you found out? No. Okay, Beagle Bob, Steve, are any of the hoses to the charcoal canister or evap system rotted? Yeah, I guess that could do it. Possibly leak somewhere in the vapor recovery system. Yep. Hansabar. Did that as a kid with my old Volvo and then slowly learned better. Yeah. Yep. Beagle Bob, they don't appear to be rotted, but maybe internally rotted. Could be. Could be. Yes, yeah. Okay, driveway of misfits. Have you smoke tested the evap system? That's probably a pretty good idea. Yep. Yep. That's probably a pretty good idea, I would say. Barracuda, I'll tell you what's a bad idea, using Mackay radiator hoses based on my experience. I'm not even familiar with that brand. Hey, Tavo, mate, what are you doing in here? Is it lunchtime over there or something? Good to have you here, brother. Robbie Autry, hey Kiwi, how is that Mustang coming along? The one where you've done all that work on it and is going to have the Coyote. Well, I've actually got two in the shop right now that are both getting Coyotes. So one's Casper and one is Swiss cheese, we called it. Swiss cheese, I'll be getting back onto this week, I would say. That's had a bit of a pause, which is on me because we've just had so much other little customer work coming through the shop. It's been just filling my weeks like week after week, and it's got to stop because those big projects are not getting done, mine included. So yeah, I've kind of pulled right back on that smaller stuff, and so yeah, I'll be getting back on Swiss cheese, which is the one with the Mustangs to Fair front end in it. I'll be getting back on that in the next, probably this week, if not this week, next week. And then the other one shortly after that. Stray bullet filler neck leak can also cause the code. Yep. Tavo, Barracuda, unless you get old stock Mackay now, mate. So okay, that's like a Kiwi Australia brand, Mackay. Tavo, you're on permanent lunch break, Kiwi? Really? How's that? You retired, mate? Have you retired? Or did they kick your ass to the curb? Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just you chose to free up your time. Beagle Bob, is there vacuum connection to a solenoid for the evap system? My Grand Marquis has an evap code and one of the lines just crumbles in my hand. I personally don't mind the light it brightens my day. Dr. Cliff, the filter will bleed off hot fuel. Hot fuel, okay. Beagle Bob, do you use Ford Racing control packs for the Coyotes? Yes. Yeah, on both of them have the Ford control packs. Yep. Haven't actually done one yet, but I'm about to soon. It's supposed to be really easy, but hey, time will tell. Brandon Creepo. Faulty fuel tank pressure sensors can cause reoccurring evap leaks, DTCs, as well as a bad vent purge valves. There you go. See, it's all kind of a little bit double Dutch to me, I'll be honest with you guys. That does actually make sense, but yeah, fortunately it's not something I have to deal with. Tavo, Mackay rubber products for Australian-made OEM replacement. Okay, now somewhere in Asia, and it shows. Yep, Yep, they send it over to Asia to get made because it's cheaper, and that's exactly what they get, a cheaper product. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know what to say in those situations because the different manufacturers are so busy being competitive, they've just forgotten all about quality. And I guess some of it is us as a consumer, especially with the advent. I see it as kind of coming in. Came in with the internet. We were able to price shop so much more with the internet now. And a few clicks away, and you can save $5 here or $10 there or whatever it might be. And but it's not working out well for us because the products we're buying, while they're cheaper, they're a whole lot less. So. Stray Bullet, Tavo is a gentleman of leisure now. Well, that's cool, man. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. I wish I could say the same because I need that. I need probably 40 hours a week just to catch up on my projects, without working for anybody. Robbie Autry, what did the owner of that international decide to do? He's bringing it back in like 6 months, and we've kind of tentatively agreed that a repower is in order, and possibly some different front suspension. So exactly what is to be determined. Possibly, probably leaning towards a small block Ford and an auto, just to make it easy to drive. It'll be very, very mild bone stock. Quiet exhaust, even maybe a single exhaust, just so it won't appear outwardly like it's a V8 hot rod of any kind. Until you open the hood, then obviously it'll be obvious. But it's not being done to make it a hot rod. It has been done as a cheap way to get a reliable, capable engine, to lug that thing around rather than the little tiny weak, flathead that's in it. Chris Triumph, tomorrow I have to pay for insurance on 10 motorcycles, a pickup truck, and a fun hauler. Should I go to the bank and get my own money, or wear a ski mask and the money that other way? Well, mate, all I can say is shop around on insurance, because we just did that recently and saved about $4,000 a year on car insurance. Admittedly over 6 cars, but $4,000 is $4,000. It was well worth switching, and the coverage is just the same. So when you get into that number of vehicles, motorcycles aren't really that much harder to insure than cars anymore. I'd shop around a little bit, mate. With that many vehicles, you do get some fairly good volume discounts. And when you think about it from the insurance company's point of view, if you have 10 motorcycles and 2 vehicles, typically you can only drive one at a time, right? You can't ride 2 motorcycles at the same time. So it's unlikely that you crash all 10 of them, right? You might crash one, but they're still collecting premiums on the other 9, right? So that's why they give the bulk vehicle discounts, because they don't all get driven. So while they're not getting driven, there's very, very little risk for them. Try that, bud. Thunderbird 68. Hey everyone. So I'm on my 3rd mechanical fuel pump. Oh no, really? On my 429 Ford. I thought the pumps were bad, but I finally realized, I was thinking that before I read it. It appears the fuel pump eccentric on the cam has slipped. Mate, I got caught on a Mustang where the engine came from another company that I wasn't kind of familiar with really, and put the fuel pump in, mechanical fuel pump, and nothing, couldn't get any fuel pressure. Anyway, they hadn't put the eccentric on at all. There was no eccentric in the engine. So as I was reading it, that story was coming back to mind. But yeah, so we ended up having to run an electric fuel pump, which I'm not that big a fan of electric pumps. If they're in tank, okay, they're nice and quiet, but some of these noisy Holly pumps just sound like hell. Thing is, too, if your eccentric had slipped, aren't they held on with the bolt that holds the sprocket onto the front of the camshaft? If that thing slipped, that's a problem. It means your bolt's loose that's holding your sprocket onto your camshaft. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I would say hopefully someone hasn't put the eccentric on, like what happened to me. Andy Nicol, well, better late than never. Good evening, or good evening, sir. Good to have you here. You're here for the last quarter of the show, so yeah. Barracuda Tavo, my experience was in 2006. The top hose kept splitting at the clamp. I had to cut and shorten it until it was too short. Yeah. It's some of the rubber stuff coming out of Asia and China is just junk. It doesn't last long at all. I've had bushings on Heights front suspensions fail in a year. I've got a couple of Eastwood welders, 3 of them actually, and the hose lines that carry the gas on all of them have failed. Just gone dry and brittle, and they make it through warranty and like barely, and that's it. The rubber is just whatever the recipe they're using to make it is obviously saving them $1.59 or whatever it is, and but it doesn't last. E2495, as much as I enjoy seeing the classics and rare cars that you share, I really like when you show the fails. Watching you reveal some of the dodgy cars are as satisfying as lighting up a cigarette. Well, I mean, if you guys watch a lot of my videos, you'll see, 10,000 views is a pretty decent video for me. That's a pretty good number of viewers. That last Mustang that I did, that black one that had the rigged up steering, that's had 100,000 views. So that's 10 times, a good video. They're very popular videos. People love them, and they love getting on and commenting. There's a ton of comments on that video, and a ton of, like there'll be one comment and there'll be another 9 or 10 replies on that same comment. The guys start talking between and arguing at times between themselves, and it brings out. It brings out a whole different section of YouTube viewers, honestly, because like I've got closing in on 28,000 subscribers now. So you get 100,000 views. There's an awful lot of people, 70,000 people that aren't subscribers, and they've just seen the thumbnail, I guess, and come on for a look. But yeah, people love those videos. That's good. I mean, in all honesty, it's good money as a video goes. I wish I could make that much money on all the videos, but you can't. The money, the YouTube money is it can be really good. This guy's making an absolute killing on it. 19,000 views gets you about 50. So, it's a hard way to get rich, put it that way, at that rate. But it's fun. I do it for fun. I like to share a little bit of the information. I share a little bit of the knowledge, and I actually genuinely hope to help a few guys out. So yeah, and I get to do things like this, chat with you guys, learn a lot. I learn a lot from my viewers, as well as hopefully they learn a little bit of something from me. But I learn a lot from them too. Tavo, that's around Barracuda. That's around the time I had the engine mount start failing early. Okay. Tavo, I just wish I could afford to be leisurely. Need to find a source of income for a few more years. Bugger. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it'll work out, buddy. Something will come up, I'm sure. Yeah, obviously, with someone of your talent's going to be able to, find an income pretty easy, I would say. Beagle Bob, I think 30 minutes justifies another pour. I think so too, bud. I think so too. Dr. Cliff, I read further about this filter, and yes, it provides a constant flow of fuel back to the tank. It is restricted by the size of the return outlet. Yeah. So you got 3/8 going in, 1/4 going out. On face value, that sounds like it's 2/3 the size, right? 3/8 of an inch versus a quarter, which is 2/8 of an inch. So it's like 1/3 smaller, but the actual area going down the line on a 1/4 inch pipe is a lot less. It's like less than half. That's kind of that. That's what I thought was going on. I thought that's what you were doing. Yeah. Now that return off the filter, the only thing with that is that it doesn't return any of the hot fuel that's on its way from the pump up to the carburetor. So, and that's the hottest part of its journey, the fuel's journey, from the tank to your carburetor. The hottest part of that is when it's going from the pump to the carburetor, because it's right beside the engine, which is typically, pushing 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It picks up some heat on the way from the pump to the carburetor, which is ideally the return would come from like at the carburetor point or very close to the carburetor. That's what I would do, but that's a good step in the right direction. But yeah, it does just return it. It returns it to the tank from its coldest part of its journey, which is from the tank to the pump. Hang on, shot down the page again. Hang on. Wildflies in the house. Welcome along. Wow, it shot way down the page. There you go. There we go. Here we go. Dr. Cliff, 5 pounds of pressure from the pump should suffice to provide enough gas to the carb at the same time. Yes, it will. And what it does is relieve a certain amount of pressure, and the volume reduces. But it'll be fine without getting into too much kind of science of it. No, it'll be fine. Robbie Autry, what's the latest on Marge? Did a little bit of work on her today, as it happens. I was talking about it earlier on, and I'm going to do a video on it. But yeah, we pulled a lot of the sheet metal off the front, not the fenders, but like all the bumper, the lower valance, upper valance or stone guard, the grill and stuff like that. Got a new grill half coming for it because it's had a punch. Like she had a punch in the face from somebody. So the grill was all bent up, and the headlights, the passenger side headlights were pointing at the ground, and the front valance is all like squashed up. It she needs a little bit of love to get it, so it doesn't look like she's got a hair lip or a fat lip or something, just working on that right now. So yeah, watch out for that video. Barracuda, I think Mackay hoses are sold in America. Not a brand I'm familiar with, I'll be honest. But America's a big place too, because I haven't seen them here in Tennessee doesn't mean they're not here. Wildfly snorts, chokes, and wakes up in surprise. Driveway of misfits. Don't go too cheap on insurance, though. Just went through the vehicle loss and our insurance didn't try to screw us over in any way. Yeah, I mean, that's good advice too, Chris. It really is. It's a little bit of you get what you pay for. And you've certainly got to read the policy carefully and make sure that, if you are going to change, that you're getting something at least as good as what you had, and hopefully for a little bit less. Andy Nichols. So, Chris, you were right on the money with the Permatex. Any recommendations for tears and a vinyl convertible top? Yeah, that's a tough one. There's not really a good way to repair them. You can use some good contact adhesive and try and put a patch on the inside. But that's a tough one. The tension that is on them all the time in the closed position, when they're up, and combined with the heat from the sun and that type of thing, tears are tough. They're very hard to execute on a convertible top. But use a really good contact upholstery glue, and do your best. But ultimately, you'll probably end up replacing it because it will just probably just gradually get worse, and the repair you do will fail a couple of times. You'll get frustrated with it and end up replacing it. But it's very hard. If you've got someone good with a needle and thread, you can actually try stitching it up a little bit, but it's certainly not an invisible repair. But that will add a little bit of strength back to it if you can actually stitch it, just by hand. You can't do it with a machine because it's too hard to get the the top off to actually put it in a machine. Glenn Nickerson, I get a small VVAP leak on my Grand Marquis since I don't have to worry about emissions testing in my state. Since it's 20 years old, keep a scanner in the car and erase the code. There you go. Tavo, I've been saying for ages they should introduce portable insurance. You can only drive one at a time. Actually, that's not a bad idea, but it's probably not the best way for the insurance companies to make money, Plus, while you're right, you can only ride or drive one at a time, but you can park it somewhere. You can have, there's the fire risk, there's the theft risk. So, yeah. But certainly, that's why the collector car insurance is so cheap compared to mainstream cars, because the collector cars don't do the miles. That's when the highest risk is for the insurance company. It's the highest risk is when you're driving it to work every day. You're in all that traffic with all those other people. That's when they're at risk of taking a loss. You drive your collector car on Sundays, maybe every Sunday, maybe every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They're not exposed to much risk. It's the same when you got multiple cars with one driver or one primary or two, maybe wife. Primary drivers. That's my situation. Even between the two of us, we can only drive, a fraction of the fleet at the same time. Steve Sadusky, the government has just raised the retirement age to 67, and it affects everyone born after 1960. Yeah, that's me too. Not that I was going to retire at 65 anyway, but hey. Try Chris Freemasser. I've never heard of Mackay hoses. Gates is a big name here. Most mini here made in the US. Yeah. Gates is a big one. Thunderbird, yeah, they are. But as I recall, we may have tried to jimmy rig the eccentric when we built the motor. I'm currently taking apart things to look at it, and we'll post a video when I figure out what happened. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that. I'm trying to picture the eccentric and how it goes on there. I'm not sure how it would slip, but I guess it depends what you tried to jimmy rig the what was done in that jimmy rigging. But yeah, you might be looking at an electric pump. Beagle Bob. Yep, well, good advice, sir. Yep, if you think insurance is expensive, you should see what a lawyer costs. Yes. Yeah, true word. Stray bullet, same with vehicle registration. Yeah, that'd be good if you could just easily carry registration from one vehicle to the next. Chris Freemas and Beagle Bob, no joke. My wife is a paralegal. Gosh, a paralegal and a computer guru. You're set up, mate. Julio or Julio E. I just got here. What did you switch to? I'm not sure who you're asking that to, but sorry. Beagle Bob, Andy Nicola, I feel like you haven't been in the comments for a little while. Yeah, Andy's been around. Barry Cooter, we always had Gates here too. Good products. I found out a while back that Gates used to make tyres. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Tavo, good concept, Stray Bullet. I'd wish that too. Yeah, it was a good concept. Vilefly, cooking steak tonight, but I think I got cheated. These are the saddest KC strip steaks I've ever seen. Meat is not like it used to be anymore. Oh dear. Mate, I had pizza tonight, so Mrs. Kiwi made homemade pizzas and they are good. So yeah, I'm happy, man. Right. Yeah, Dr. Cliff, try an electric pump, low pressure, but it didn't deal with vapor lock. It can't push past the vapor. It's good to prime the line though. Yep. Chris, shot at the page again. Tap the arrow one too many times and it shoots to the bottom of the page. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to get back to where I was. There we go. Driveway misfit. Picked up a New York strip for myself for Father's Day. It wasn't the greatest cut of meat I've ever seen. Firefly, yeah, so-called Father's Day specials they have. Yeah, hope you guys all had good Father's Days. I had a good Father's Day. Very lazy it was. The honey-do list got Barracuda. A piece of steak can cost $18 or more in New Zealand. Red meat like beef is not that cheap in the States either, Barry. It's really not. You can get some cheaper cuts, but yeah, a good cut of beef here is gonna cost you all of that. Try his Chris Freemas saying the same thing. Barracuda, that's rump steak, the cheapest. Okay. Yep. Yeah, right. That's quite a lot for rump steak. Yeah, I'll give you that. Volfly, I'm in Kansas City and I can't find a decent price KC strip steak. Damn it to hell. Chris Triumph, Kiwi, keep looking ahead and be cool, but Kev the bird is looking like he is up to something back there. Yeah, he's kind of lurking there, isn't he? Just like, who, me? What? No. E2 495 steak in Australia, forget it. Got to sell a kidney to buy it. Dr. Cliff, the filter is installed just before the carb. Okay. All right. Okay. That's a little bit different to what I'm used to then. I was thinking of the filter that's on the bottom of a lot of the fuel pumps in the Mustangs. A lot of them have that screw on, like an all filtered canister type setup that screws up on the bottom of the pump. I thought that's what you were talking about. So if it's right up, if it's up by the carb, then it should do a pretty good job for you, man. Should do a pretty good job. Robbie Autry, do you prefer to use a rubber fuel line to the carb over a metal line? I do, because it just insulates a little bit better. The steel transfers heat much better than rubber does. And that's what you don't want. So if you're going to use a metal line, I would say put some heat shielding around it, like some of that DEI. I think we talked about this last week. Some of the DEI heat shield that you use for protecting wiring or hoses or cables or whatever. I put some on that black Mustang on the shifter cable to protect it from the exhaust, and it does work. It's really quite effective. So some of that slipped around the metal line is a great idea, and you could even put it over the rubber line as well. Like it's not like you're going to keep so much heat away from the fuel line it's going to get cold. That's not going to happen. Wildfly, I would resort to eating kangaroo steak if that's the thing. They eat crocodiles there too. Crocodile meat as well over there, but kangaroos, crocodiles, and snakes. I think they eat snakes here too, though, don't they? Or not snakes, but snake meat. Driveway of Misfits. Apparently our non-cars topic for tonight is tasty cuts of animals. Here you go. Very cute. How much for one of your kidneys? Oh dear. That's a what do they call it? A whole nother level of the dark net. Yeah. Tavo, kangaroo steaks are good, but have to be cooked just right. Yeah, I believe they can be pretty tough. I can hit the wildfly. I can hit the just right mark. Plenty of motivation. There you go. E2, kangaroo is delicious. Got to hang it for a few days for best results. Yeah, that lets it tenderize a little bit, doesn't it? Barracuda, rabbit stew is an option. I've never eaten rabbit. I've just there's something about it just doesn't messes with my head. It doesn't not appeal eating rabbit stew. Many people eat squirrels here too. And it's like, oh, really? But yeah, it's just me. Tavo. Boomerang and a kangaroo. Yep, well, that's how the locals used to hunt them, wasn't it? Wildfly tuning steaks. Mate, well, guys, we're running out of time. We've got like 4 minutes to go. 2 hours has gone fast again. Andy Nickel, Beagle Bob, darn customers keep coming in and giving me money. Well, that's a good problem to have, isn't it? Thunderbird, that's interesting. Turned out great. I buy big cuts of prime rib roast from Costco Business Centre. Costco Business Centre. I'm not even familiar with that. And cut my own steaks. Cuts the price more than half. That's a good saving. Barracuda. We have wallaby pies in New Zealand. I've never had one though. Seriously? I've never seen that in New Zealand. A wallaby pie. Wow. I've never seen that. Thunderbird, stop it. I want prime rib. Beagle Bob, Andy. I don't know whether Andy's a computer. I know Chris. Chris Driveway of Misfits is a computer guru. I'm not sure about Andy. I thought he was more of a car guy. Well, maybe he's a computer genius as well. Barracuda. I'm having gruel this evening. Oh goodness me. Andy Nickel, yes, that's what I'm finding. It doesn't seem to be getting worse, but I don't want to do another top. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, mine is my best advice. See if you can stitch it a little bit by hand and, glue some vinyl on the back, on the inside, if hopefully you can get to it, and run with that. But yeah, use a good, like a good vinyl top contact adhesive. I'm trying to remember the brand that I use. Oh God, I've gone blank. It's on a couple of my videos. I've kind of stressed the importance of doing headlinings and stuff. The importance of using the right. They call it Landau top glue, and it's a really strong contact adhesive. Obviously, you've got to make sure it, wait till it dries so it becomes a contact adhesive, and then bang that on the back of your stitch repair. Thunderbird 68. Well, I do the carnivore diet mostly. Eggs for breakfast, ground beef for lunch, and steak for dinner. Wow, that's a lot of beef. Stray Bullet. Don't typically purchase comprehensive insurance. Well, it all depends what you're driving, like how much it's worth. If it's not an expensive car, then there's not a lot of point in having comprehensive insurance, because even if you total it, you're left with something. Andy Nickel builds and repairs guitars. Well, we were both off there, so I think Andy might do a little bit of work on cars as well, though. Beagle Bob, yeah, Chris, Driveway Misfits, Chris Freemasser works in IT, yeah. Barracuda, not that sort of wallaby. That would be cannibalism. Well, yes, it would be. No, I didn't think that's what you meant. But yeah, I've never heard of either kind of wallaby in a pie. But hey, fly meat is good. Meat is our friend. Good Lord. I live near Stray Bullet. Live near a bison farm. I've had bison. It's actually quite good. It's quite good. Steve Sadusky, I've just purchased a Chinese knockoff quadrajet to experiment with. I'll let you guys know how it goes, but to be honest, I'm not expecting good results. Barracuda, I'd consider having my own sheep, cattle, and chickens for food, but I made friends with them and couldn't kill them. You can't win. Yeah, I feel your pain there, mate. It wouldn't be fun, would it? Because they even, like cows and all that, they have their own personalities. They do. Chris Triumph, bison is very lean and tasty. Yeah, it is. Peagle Bob seafood diet. Oh my goodness, that's an old one, a golden oldie. Firefly chokes on a piece of gristle. Damn it. All right, guys. Well, all this talk of food has actually not made me hungry, because my wife made me a huge pizza, so I can't say that. But it is time to go. We've got our full 2 hours in tonight, thanks to me being, well, apart from that little freeze frame effort we had there briefly. But yeah. So I'll give you Chris Freeman, I'll give you an email and tell you a little bit about what happened tonight. I think you missed some of it. But yeah, I appreciate your help, the input you've given me there, Chris. So that was all good. Yeah. So it's time to go. Thank you all for coming in, joining in, putting in your input. It's always fun. It's always entertaining. And as I said, another 2 hours has flown by. So good night to you all. Get out there and work on your cars, your hobbies, your hot rods, and report back next week and let me know what you got done. And I will do the same. Hopefully a little bit of work on March to report. All right, guys, have a great one, and I will see you next week. Take it easy, guys.